Moonlight Nana. Hello everyone, I'm Moonlight Nana and this is my 31st Medibang Paint Pro tutorial video. Thank you for clicking on this video. I hope it can help you start off your first step in your digital art journey. In the previous tutorial video, we learned about the Protect Alpha, clipping and lock. For this Medibang Paint Pro tutorial, I will explain about the blending layers, which is the final topic of the layer window. This is gonna be a long tutorial, so let's start. As you can see on screen now, I have prepared two arts of different versions. One is the daylight version and the other is the nighttime version. In the middle is a block of color. The purpose of this block is to make comparison between the different blending layers used upon both of these art illustrations so that you can see it more clearly. Looking at the window layer, we've got two layers only, which are the base layer down here and the blending layer up here. The base layer is the two art illustrations, while the blending layer will be used to demonstrate the different blending modes offered by Medibang, which is also the block of color in the middle over here. To start off the topic of blending layer, we begin by knowing what it's for. The blending effect is used upon a layer for the purpose of changing the colors based on the layers underneath it. We can change how the colors of an illustration are expressed simply by setting the blending modes. Each digital graphic or art software has its own set of blending, but generally most of them are the same. For the Medibang Paint Pro software, the blending can be found at the layer window over here. Right now, you'd see the current blending is set to normal. When you click on this box, the drop-down menu will show many options for blending. I will explain each one of them one by one. Now the first one is multiply. The multiply blending mode multiplies the colors of the blending layer and the base layers. This will make the colors look darker. This blending mode is useful for coloring shadows, and I myself use it for drawing shadows on my art. The second one is add. This blending mode adds the color information of the base layer and the blending layer. In digital terms, adding colors increases the brightness. That's why, as you can see on screen, the color looks brighter here. This mode is suitable to be used when drawing a light source. For example, in this illustration, I used the add blending mode at the outer part of this moon to give it a luminescent glow. The third is divide. This blending mode divides the pixel value between the base layer and the blending layer. It is suitable to be used to increase the brightness of the photo or a dim or dark art. For example, like this one. Okay, this illustration uses dark colors. So when we use the divide, you can see the parts that was dark more clearer now. The second excuse me. The second example is like this one. A glum photo can be brightened. You see here that the shirt of this character appears to be yellowish. Okay, but with the divide mode, and you compare here, the shirt looks more cleaner and whiter in the divide mode. Okay, the same goes for the skin color of this character. Without the divide mode, it looks kind of like gloomy, but with the divide mode, the skin appears to be fairer. And finally, the candles behind here. The ones with the divide blending mode have a brighter glow, right, as compared to the ones without. So here, this one is without the blending mode, and you see this one is the blending mode of divide. You can see the difference like this. Okay, so that's one of the things the divide blending mode does. The next one is the overlay. The overlay makes bright colors even brighter and dark colors become even darker. It is similar to a combination of the multiply mode and the add mode. I only sometimes use this blending mode, but I have seen other artists use the overlay blending mode to color hairs. Like the darker parts of the hair becomes a deeper color while the shinier part of the hair becomes more attractive. like the hair of the models you see in shampoo commercials. You know, the models have black hair, but at the same time it looks to be glowing. So if you'd like to use the overlay blending mode for this, or for any other users, then go for it. Okay, moving on to the screen blending mode. The screen inverts the base colors and multiplies with the colors of the blending layer. This creates the opposite effect of the multiply mode. The resulting colors will be brighter than the original colors. Now for the lighten blending mode. The lighten blending mode will first compare the base colors, okay, and then keeps the lighter color. It compares the base colors and then the colors of the blending layers after that, okay, and then it will keep the lighter color. For example, when you compare the original color of this block and the color of the daylight over here, which do you think is brighter? The daylight color is brighter, right? Therefore, the lighten blending mode will keep the color of the daylight. Where is it? Lighten, like this. It will keep the color of the light in here. Okay, now as for the right side, which do you think? Okay, which do you think has a brighter color? The original color of this block or the nighttime? The color of this box is of course much brighter than the color of the nighttime, right? Thus, when you use the lighten blending mode, the blended layer will keep the colors of this box. Okay, it will not follow the color of the one in the base layer. Now, as for the darken blending mode, it is the opposite of the lighten mode just now. The darken mode will compare the color of the base layer and the blending layer, then will keep the color that is darker only. For its example, you just treat it as treat like the effect as a direct opposite of the lighten blending mode I explained just now. Okay, for example, like this one, you see which color is much darker, the one in the original color of this block or this one, the daytime. Of course, it's the one in the block, right, which has a darker color. That's why in this blending layer, the darken blending mode keeps the original color, which is like about magenta. And in this one, to compare the darker, which is darker, is it the magenta color, the block here, or the base colors nighttime? Of course, it is the base colors nighttime color, which is darker. That is why here you'd see that it will keep the color of the one in the base layer. Now let's take a look at the difference blending mode. This blending mode subtracts the colors of the blending layer from the base layer, then keeps the resulting value and then combine it with the original base colors. Or to make it easier to understand, whatever the color on the blending layer will display the color that is opposite of it on the color wheel. For example, right here, the foreground color is set to this point or position, right, which is the magenta. See, this is the color, and at this point, this one. Now, in difference mode, it will be the different mode will choose the color which is the direct opposite or just across the color over here, which is green. See, it's green here. Since the base color is lighter, then the lighter ones will reflect the opposite color. Okay, like over here, this is green, that's why it's green here. Then over here, it's darker color. So the darker the color, the closer it will follow the color which is the original blending in the original blending layer, the color of the block just now. Okay, so for example, we use the color blue this time, and if you see here, this color blue is opposite to the color like around yellow or almost brownish lime, like that, yellow or lime. So it's somewhere around here. If we change this color the original color into blue, it will follow the yellow color here, which is the opposite, like so. See, blue, and then like here, opposite is yellow, almost green, lime. And then since this one is darker, it will follow the darker color of the original block color, which is the blue one. Okay, so I hope from here you understand a little bit about the difference one. Now, I very rarely use the difference blending mode because, to be frank, it confuses me. But if you know how to use it, then by all means you make good use of the difference blending mode in your art. Okay, moving on, we have the dodge blending mode. The dodge brightens the color of the base layer and reduces the contrast. This will create a moderate saturation tone. It's almost the same as add, but for dodge blending mode, it only brightens the base layer. Some artists use the dodge effect as a substitute for the add blending mode because its uses are almost the same, but for myself, I prefer to use the add in my drawings. After this is the burn. The burn mode darkens the colors and increases the contrast of the base colors, then blends the colors of the blending layer. It will then produce a more darker color, then multiply and darken. Okay, so this is a darker color, then you use the multiply or the darken. Now I like to use the burn blending mode on my line arts because it makes my line art more deeper in color and attractive when I color my arts later. Alright, so the soft light blending mode, it is like a combination of dodge for the brighter color and burn for the darker color. Okay, as for the hard light blending mode, it is like the combination of the screen blending mode for brighter color and like multiply mode for the darker color. Okay, the last four blending modes are definitely ones you've ever heard before: the hue, saturation, color, and brightness. Four of these are always relating to one another. The hue refers to the different color tones. The saturation is the strength values of a color or how deep the color is. Color is obviously color. Brightness obviously means how bright the color is. When you edit pictures or when you draw digitally, these four are things that you always take into consideration. If you set the blending layer to hue, the blending layer will keep the color without changing the brightness and the saturation of the base layer. If you set the blending layer to saturation, the color of the blending layer will apply the hue and the brightness of the base layer. The color blending layer combines both hue and saturation. And then lastly, the brightness blending layer, which is used to omit any colors on the base layer. The uses of these four blending modes over here is difficult for me to explain in more detail. Moreover, I don't use these four blending modes. If I want to change the color, hue, saturation, and brightness, I just use the setting in the filter menu here. So we have everything here, and then I just tweak everything here instead of using the blending layers. Okay, anyway, the types of blending that I always use are multiply, add. Multiply is for me to draw shadows, add for the glow effect, and burn. Where's the burn? Burn is for my line art. I sometimes use overlay also, but yeah, other than that, quite rarely use the others. Every digital artist has their own favorite blending modes that suits to their drawing styles. So try and play, explore, and test out each of the layer blending modes until you can identify or determine which one suits you or appeals to you. I also encourage you to watch videos of other artists' artworks to get and collect ideas on how to use the blending modes with different styles. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial video of Medibang Paint Pro. Please like this video and subscribe to Moonlight Nana channel, or follow me on Facebook. Together we help each other out in our art journey. Have a blessed day ahead, everybody.